morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, I'm coming with more news about another one of those cards that looked like it might be fun, but not everybody believed it might be fun. And it's kind of starting to look like it might be fun. It's Trumbeak! Yeah, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. That Trumbeak card I showed you a little while ago, a lot of people were skeptical, and you can see why they were. But according to the lovely Talonite X over on Twitter, this new Trumbeak is starting to see quite a bit of play and quite a bit of love. Now, for those of you that may have forgotten, this is the one whereby when you play it from your hand to evolve one of your Pokémon, you get to look at the top 3 cards of your deck, and any basic energy you find there, you attach to your Pokémon in any way that you like. And initially, just on the face of it, this Trumbeak looks slightly underwhelming. It looks like it's not quite going to be good enough. It's 3 random cards on the top of your deck, and then you've got a stage 1 sitting on your bench. How can that possibly be a good thing? But the thing is that there are 2 cards around at the moment that turn this, as far as I'm concerned at least, from an, could be fun, to an, ooh, that could be fun kind of card. Now, the first one, of course, is Oranguru. This is the one from Sword and Shield that lets you swap the top card of your deck with a card in your hand. So, essentially, you don't use Trumbeak randomly. You wait until you got a card in your hand, which, it's basic energy, right? If you're really worried, use Viridian Forest. Boom. Then you can search your basic energy every turn. You've got an energy in your hand. You use Oranguru to put it on top of your deck. And then, essentially, you're in a 2-part ability. Part number 1, you get the guaranteed energy from the top of your deck with Trumbeak, so you will get the single attachment. And then number 2, you get a chance for the next 2 cards. So 2 cards are randomly, hey, they might be energy, they might be not, who knows? But the top card definitely will be. And that's how Trumbeak ends up working. So that's the whole, well, it's not guaranteed part of it. The whole, then there's a stage 1 sitting on your bench. That's where Scoop Up Net comes in. Scoop Up Net lets you pick up a non-GX, non-V Pokemon and put it into your hand. So you don't just play Trumbeak and leave it there. You play Trumbeak, and then at some point later in the game, you Scoop Up Net, and hopefully when you Scoop Up Net, you've got a Pipipex sitting on the bench anyway, ready to evolve into your Trumbeak, so you can use the ability again. And now what you're doing is actually legitimately getting lots of energy. I mean, I'm going to show you 3 deck lists at the end, and you're generally playing a 2-2 line of Trumbeak with 4 Scoop Up Net. If you only ever hit the guaranteed energy from Oranguru, you're talking about 6 extra energy during the game. But of course, there is every chance what you're actually going to do is hit occasionally on the rest of the energy, and you're going to end up accelerating an extra, I don't know, let's say you get a 50% hit rate. So every 2 times you play Trumbeak, you hit 1 energy. Well, there's 9 extra energy attachments for the game. 2 from the Trumbeak, 4 from the Scoop Up Net, and then we're saying that 1 out of every 2 times you hit 1 with Trumbeak, so then you add another 3, and that gives you 9 in total. Well, you've basically played 10 cards in your deck to get 9 extra energy attachments. If you compare that to something like Turbo Patch, flip a coin if heads, attach a basic energy to one of your basic non-GX Pokemon, you play 4 Turbo Patch, you expect to get 2 extra energy. I don't mind playing 10 cards in my deck if it's going to get me 9 extra energy. Now, I'm not going to go into the maths of it all because it really depends on how many energy you're playing, how you play in the early game, i.e. how empty your deck gets of energy, how quickly, etc. But I really don't think randomly hitting 1 energy out of 4 cards is that unrealistic. Trumbeak has an awful lot of potential. The thing is, it's easy to sit here and go, well, Trumbeak could be good. It's far better to sit here and have a look through some deck lists and see some examples of how Trumbeak has already seen some success. Now, one which is a deck we've seen many times before is Blacephalon. Blacephalon is a deck that we've all seen. Blacephalon is an extremely good deck, and it doesn't look like it's going anywhere anytime soon. Now, I'm honestly not sure how I feel about Trumbeak and Blacephalon. And don't get me wrong, right? I'm the one that's sitting here arguing that Trumbeak is a good card and trying to prove to you that Trumbeak is a good card. And yet the first deck list I'm showing you, I'm telling you, I'm not 100% sure. You see, Blacephalon's got the attack for free energy. You get to do 50 damage for every energy that you discard from your hand. So you need to get lots of energy attached and lots of energy in your hand, etc, etc. It gets kind of awkward. Now, the thing is that Blacephalon generally doesn't need that much extra energy because it plays Welder. I mean, we don't often see it playing stuff like B-String at the moment, because Welder does, and B-String will get the energy, because Welder does such a good job getting the energy, we kind of don't need any extra help for Blacephalon here. But then again, if you get the energy with Trumbeak, then that means that you don't need to worry about playing a Welder, which means you can actually open up boss's orders, which is something that Blacephalon decks honestly don't get to do much of the time because they just have to Welder turn after turn after turn. It means you could potentially play a draw supporter as well as a Trumbeak. I don't know if this is necessarily the best use for it, but I will say that it's an energy-hungry deck. You need free energy on the Blacephalon. You generally play stuff like Cramorant, which also needs free energy on. So maybe this is a decent use for it. A far better use, as far as I'm concerned, is Zacian. Zacian is just awesome. And it's a deck we've seen many times before, right? We all know the deal with Zacian. It's got the ability that basically lets you draw free cards. And if any of those cards are basic metal energy, you can attach them to Zacian. Although nowadays Zamazenta becomes a pretty much automatic one-off, because, and I know it hasn't really happened over here, it will when Darkness Ablaze comes out, but over in Japan, VMAXs have started to really take over, so the time to play anti-VMAX stuff is pretty much here. And the thing is, the Zacian does have energy acceleration, but it tends to run out. So you've got the ability, and you've got your 4 Metal Saucer, but the thing is that the ability ends your turn. So unless you go second and have a really good start, you're going to get that 1 turn of ability. But a lot of the time for Zacian, you are actually getting 1 turn of abilities. Or really 1 ability on 1 turn, because the fact of the matter is, it's not enough to warrant ending your turn. It's just not. So you kind of have to roll with it, unfortunately. So you've got that 1 turn of abilities. That's quite nice. And then after that, we've got your 4 Metal Saucer. But there will be times in the mid to late game where you've used your Metal Saucer and you can't afford to use your ability. And that's where something like Trumbeak comes in. Except Trumbeak isn't an in the late game kind of thing. Trumbeak essentially turns into, it keeps you ticking along. And between your ability early game and your Metal Saucer and your Trumbeak, you tick along, so it's never, or at least rarely, a case where you're desperate to hit 2 energy off a Trumbeak, because Trumbeak and Metal Saucer together have kept you ticking along, and you're still playing the same Zacian deck you've been playing the whole time. I mean, the one on the screen here is the one that plays Jirachi Prism Star to try and steal extra prizes. But the difference is, you're not doing that mad scramble for energy, and we've all played with and against Zacian decks, or most of us at least, and seen that we have actually had to do that mad scramble for energy. It's no fun, ladies and gentlemen. It's no fun. Now, the third one is a video I did show you a little while ago when we were looking at Amazing Rares a few days back. And this is a deck that revolves around Amazing Rares, things like Raikou and Zamazenta. The awkward thing, of course, being with these, the attack cost. You know, Raikou's 120 to the active, 120 to the bench is awesome, but for a grass lightning metal, it's kind of annoying. Zamazenta's 180 and cannot be damaged by Pokemon V Max's next turn is awesome, but for a lightning fighting metal, it ain't quite so good. So you play Trumbeak and you play that turbo patch I mentioned earlier, and now all of a sudden, even though you're playing a stupid energy line, and you're trying to get 3 different types of basic energy onto your Pokemon, it actually legitimately works and gives you a legitimate option. Is Trumbeak going to be some kind of uber card that makes any deck good going forward? Probably not. Is it a card that when combined with Scoop Up Net can give you the extra energy attachment you need in a variety of decks? I think so. And I also think it is going to see quite a lot of play because we're going to need energy. There are going to be plenty of decks out there that need energy. And the other thing is there are going to be plenty of decks out there that don't have that energy. You can always argue that fire decks for at least the next year are going to have Welder, so why do they care? But there are plenty of other typings that don't have stuff like Welder, and they will care, ladies and gentlemen. They will care. But right now, I'd like to know what you think, so let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.